by Robert Lawson. Written and illustrated by Robert Lawson. Chapter 4, Uncle Analdas. They started early, for Uncle Analdas really was getting quite elderly and had to travel at a leisurely pace. Here's a picture of them getting started. What he lacked in speed, however, was more than made up for by his craft and intimate knowledge of the countryside. He knew every path and shortcut, every dog and every hiding place. All day he instructed little Georgie in the tricks of the rabbit trade, about which he knew almost more than father. They kept to the shadow of the stone walls and hedgerows. They circled wide around every house that possessed dangerous dogs. When they paused for rest, it was always within one leap of a burrow or briar patch. They stopped for lunchtime at Dead Man's Brook, and little Georgie, with pardonable pride, pointed out the exact spot where he had jumped it. They even found the deep footprints that marked his landing. Uncle Analdas eyed the broad stream with a shrewd and practiced eye. "Quite a leap, Georgie," he admitted. "Quite a leap. Your old man couldn't do it, couldn't have done it myself, not even in my prime. Yes, sir, quite a leap. Shouldn't have let yourself get surprised, though. Shouldn't have let yourself get driven into no fix like that, neither. No, sir, that was plumb careless. Don't think your old man'll take that. Don't think your old man'll like that." Little Georgie was sure he would not. The lunch was a very poor one indeed, for it consisted of the scrapings of Uncle Analdas' ladder, never too bountiful at best. But the sun was warm, the sky was blue, and the old gentleman seemed inclined to rest and discourse. "Do you know, Georgie," he said, settling back comfortably in the deep grass, "that there song you been a-singing all day long, it ain't much of a song and it ain't much of a tune, but there's a real good sense to it, though you probably don't know it. And I'll tell you why. Because there's always is new folks a-comin', that's why. There's always new folks a-comin', and always new times a-comin'. Why, look at this here very road we're traveling along. I mind my grandfather telling me how his grandfather told him how his grandfather used to tell about the old days, and how the British redcoat soldiers came a-tramping up this road, clear up Danbury way, a-roaring it, shooting and a-burning of the houses and the barns and the crops. And how the folks hereabout come a-rampaging and shooting of them. And a lot of them was buried right in these here orchards, and all the homes was gone, and all the critters, and the food was gone, and they was bad times then, real bad. But them soldiers went away, and then them times went away, and there was always new folks comin' and new times a-comin'. Us folks just went on a-raising our young ones and attending to our own affairs, but new folks kept comin'. And after a while, this here whole valley was full of little mills and factories, and all them fields there along the high ridge was growing thick with wheat and potatoes and onions, and folks was everywhere. And the big wagons a-rumbling and a-rolling along this very road, just a-spilling out grain and hay and all. Them was good times for everybody. But then, pretty soon, all the young men folks went a-marching down this here road, all of them wearing blue uniforms, a-singing and a-laughing and carrying paper sacks of cookies and flowers stuck into their guns. Most of them never come back, and the old folks petered out or went away, and the mills fell in, and the fields growed up in weeds, and then it was bad times again. But Granddad and Grandmammy just went on a-raising us and tending their own business, and then there was new folks coming again, and black roads, and new houses, and schools, and automobiles, and first thing you know, it was good times again. There's good times, Georgie, and there's bad times, but they go. And there's good folks, and there's bad folks, and they go too. But there's always new folks a-comin'. That's why there's some sense in that song you keep a-singing. Although it's real tedious otherwise, real tedious. I'm going to take a nap now, 10 minutes. Keep your eyes open. Little Georgie kept his eyes open and his ears cocked. He wasn't going to be surprised again. He started to think about the things that Uncle Analdas had told him, but thinking always made him sleepy, so he washed his face and paws in the stream. He packed up their knapsacks and watched the shadow of a twig on the bank. When it showed that a full 10 minutes had elapsed, he woke his uncle, and they continued on their way. Here they are. This way. I can hold it. If I can hold it so you can see it. There we go. There they are. Word of Uncle Analdas' departure had spread among the little animals up Danbury way, and many of them came out along the roadside to wish him good-bye and good luck. The woodchucks, too, along the high ridge, all wanted to send messages to Porky, so it was late afternoon when they tramped down Long Hill toward the Twin Bridges. They were tired and hot and dusty now, and as they approached the North Branch, Uncle Analdas seemed to have something weighty on his mind. While they rested on the bank of the stream, he suddenly unburdened himself. "Georgie," he burst forth, "Georgie, I'm a-going to do it. Yes, sir, I'm a-going to do it. You know women folks is funny like and particular about some things, and your ma is extra particular. I don't know how many ding-blasted years it is since I've done it, but I'm a-going to do it now." "Do what?" asked little Georgie, puzzled. "Georgie," said Uncle Analdas solemnly, "listen careful now, because you may never hear me speak these words again in your whole life. Georgie, I'm a-going to take me a bath." So there he is in the stream taking a bath. Looks pretty wet, doesn't he? Clean, refreshed, and slicked up, they hastened toward the hill. Little Georgie almost running in his eagerness to be home. Even from a distance it was clear that things had happened in their absence, in his absence, for on the roof of the big house shone patches of bright new shingles, and the air was fragrant with the smell of pine shavings and fresh paint. They were greeted joyfully by Mother and Father, and while Uncle Analdas settled his few knickknacks in the guest room, little Georgie burst into an account of his adventures. Father, of course, was quite angry at his carelessness in allowing the old hound to surprise him, but became so swollen with pride over the great leap across Dead Man's Brook that he was less severe than he might have been. "And Mother," little Georgie went on excitedly, "I've made a song. It goes—" Father raised his paw for silence. "Listen," he said. They listened, and at first little Georgie heard nothing. Then, suddenly, the sound came to him. All over the hill, the voices of the little animals were rising in a chorus, and they were singing his song, the song of little Georgie. Way up near the house he could hear Porky's unmusical bellow, "New folks coming, oh my!" He could recognize the voices of Phuey of the Red Buck and the Gray Fox. The piping treble of Willie Field Mouse and all his brothers and sisters rose like a tiny, faraway chime. "Oh my, oh my!" He could hear the mole's muffled voice coming up from the sod. Mother hummed it as she bustled about preparing dinner. Even Uncle Analdas, sniffing happily at the soup pot, chimed in with an occasional cracked "Oh my!" Bill Hickey and his carpenters were just leaving, and as their truck rattled down the drive, little Georgie could hear them all whistling his tune. There's the raccoon and the fox and the woodchuck and some of the birds and maybe a little mouse. They're all singing little Georgie's song. At the cottage down the road, Tim McGrath hammered happily at his tractor, getting it in shape after the long winter's idleness. His plow was all cleaned and polished, his harrow lay ready, and as he worked, he sang a song. "Where'd you get that song?" asked his wife, Mary, from the kitchen window. "Dunno," said Tim. "Oh, my, new folks a comin', oh, my, new folks—" "And it's a good thing," interrupted Mary. "It's a good thing new folks are coming after the winter we've had and not much work and all. It's a good thing." "Comin', oh my, plenty of work now," he cried. "Garden to be made, big garden, lawns done over, north field plowed and seeded, wood cut, brush cleared, drive fixed, shrubs moved, chicken run, lots of work, oh my, new folks a comin', oh." "I don't think that's much of a song," said Mary, "but it's a good thing." Nevertheless, a few minutes later, above the rattle of the supper dishes, Tim could hear her crooning contentedly, "Coming, oh my, new folks coming, oh my." Louis Kernstock, the mason, was loading his truck. As he threw in trowels and buckets and hammers, shovels, hose, cement bags, and all the other things he would need tomorrow, he hummed, much off tune, but very happily. It would have been hard to tell what the notes were, and the words were indistinct too, but it sounded like "Folks comin', oh my, new folks comin'." Down at the corner store, Mr. Daly was arranging his shelves and ordering new stock. He didn't need to order much, for it had been a long, hard winter. Few people had been about, and his shelves were almost as full as they had been last fall. But now winter was over. Through the open door the first warm air of spring crept softly in. From the swamp the peeper frogs clamored like jangling sleigh bells. Mr. Daly sat on his high stool and scratched at his lists. And as he wrote, he sang a little song. New folks a-comin', coffee 2 dozen, corned beef 12, new folks comin', oh my. Starch 3 cartons, matches, pepper, cornstarch, salt, ginger ale, coming, oh my, new folks a-coming. Paper napkins, vinegar, dill pickles, dried apricots, oh my, oh my, oh my. End of chapter 4. Oh my.